What about you, David? School is an important thing in your life.
Mine was different from hers, man. I come from like really strict background, educational-wise. I don't think, I can't remember, I don't think anybody in my bloodline has been a musician, or entertainer.
Did you grow up in Africa?
Yeah, I grew up in Lagos. At first, grew up in Lagos, with my family, big family. I grew up with all my cousins. We all lived together, like all around the same area. My first thought of music was probably when I was probably like 12. Because when I was young, my mom used to throw parties a lot. She would throw a party for anything, graduation, naming ceremony, birthdays. So
like
just from
ones.
liking, I just like to have fun. I was very hyper when I was little.
I like this mindset.
They don't give me sugar. Like when I was young, they can't give me sugar because I was running everywhere. But I like parties and just excitement. So I think from there, that's when like the entertainment drive. But with music, because I come from a family that you go to school, after you go to school, you go and work for my dad in the company, big company. That's how it goes.
That's the path.
Yeah, I was different. I'm the last child of my family. All my siblings went to school in London, in America. I was the only one that stayed in Nigeria with my parents. I have, I'm really cultured African-wise. But time went by, and then I had a cousin that was a musician and took me to the studio one day. And then I went to the studio with him.
First time?
First time ever. Like,
ever?
Just opened the studio, like. And I watched them, like, make music. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, this is how they make it and stuff. And I kept on going back to that studio, like, once in a while.
What kind of music?
Like African music.
Okay.
African? Did you have like kind of idol at this time?
Yes, D'banj, P-Square.
Okay, those guys.
P-Square, yeah.
That time. So from then I just kept on going. But I never told my dad, because my mom passed when I was 11. So I grew up mainly with my dad, just me and my dad. So but I never told my dad. I had a studio in the house. My dad didn't know.
Really?
In your own house?
Yes, I had a studio in the house.
Not too loud for him?
That's great. That's
He was
not
too
possible.
busy, like he stays upstairs, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're sure it's a house? It's not
It means that you had a big mansion.
Yeah, big.
You had a big mansion. Yeah, for sure.
That was a big house.
How much?
Like 20-something rooms, like it was big.
Wow. Yeah,
Okay.
big mansion.
So, and I'm on like this floor, he's on like the top floor. And he goes straight to his room. Once he comes back from work, he's going in the elevator and he's going straight to his room. So he never heard the studio. But when I finished high school, I moved to America for college.
Where?
I first moved to Tennessee, but when I moved to Tennessee, Collegedale, Tennessee, that's the first place I went to. But it was like he moved me to like a Christian university. Like, I was like the only African in like the whole place. So I couldn't stay there because I was just not feeling it. So he moved me to Alabama,
Okay.
2 hours away. He didn't want me to stay in Atlanta. I was born in Atlanta. He didn't want me to stay in Atlanta because
Why?
he thought I'd be distracted. Atlanta, the clubs, everything. So he went to Alabama. But he didn't know that's where the problem would start. Because the school I went to was very, very musically inclined. They had the best choir. They had the best music program. But obviously, he never let me join it. But then I had a lot of people that, did music there. So when I first got to the school, he dropped me off, went to the school. In the dorm, like where the students stay, upstairs in my room, I'm always hearing like boom, 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 like it's like music upstairs of my room. So I went upstairs one day and I knocked the door. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm always hearing music, like, is it a party or whatever? And the dude opened the door, he had a mini studio in the school.
It was for the student or?
No, just for him.
Okay.
So I was like, yo, like, teach me how much is for all of this? He said, 1,000. I'm like, shit, what's up? I took everything. And I was like, just teach me how to record myself.
That's crazy.
I'll find my way. So that's really, and this time I'm like 15, 16. But
What did you do on that studio?
That studio, I started producing.
Okay.
I went on YouTube, I taught myself. I was watching YouTube every day. Everything is on YouTube. So I was watching YouTube every day, and then I mastered recording myself. You know what I'm saying? So this is like this period, like I'm in school, but I'm like not in school, but my dad doesn't really know. And then back home, the artists are blowing up. So I'm like, man, I have to go back home. I don't have time. Like everybody's blowing. All my friends that I know from when I left, they're getting big, like blowing up. Like I'm like, man, I gotta go back, bro. I want to go back. I'm telling you, I have to go back. I have to go back. And then one day I just went back, and it was a long thing. That's another story. But I just decided to. I left school, then I moved back to Nigeria without my parents knowing. I just moved back. Like
when you told at your father that you do music.
I didn't ask him. I moved back, and he heard.
You figured it out.
Okay.
You know, so after a while, you know what I'm saying, like he heard that I came back, and then it was a whole thing. But then I just had to like fight, and I just kept on going. So I dropped a song. When I moved back, he got me.
He got you?
Yeah, the first time I moved. When I moved back to like really do the music, he got me, and then like, sent me to school.
Again,
but this time in the village, not in Alabama.
No studio.
No studio. This is no.
That's crazy.
He puts me, the owner of the head of the school. This is his door. This is my door. So every day when he's going to school,
It was a school or a prison?
Huh?
School or prison?
Same thing basically. But from there, and then I started from there. I did a song. So, but the deal was, if I go to school in the village, he will build me a studio. So I go to school. I go to school for 2 weeks in the village, straight 2 weeks, no phone, no internet, nothing. Then I come back for that weekend. Then I go back to school for 2 weeks. But he'll build me studio. He'll give me anything I need. He'll give me everything I need. So every 2 weeks, I'll go to I had the best studio in Lagos. But it was only open every 2 weeks. So every time I go every 2 weeks, all the artists will come because I had the best equipment. So that is where I was getting leverage because I had the best studio and I was letting people record for free. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I started meeting, I met D'banj, started meeting a lot of people. I met a lot of people then, Olamide, I started meeting people. So I did a song. So I was like, Dad, I've been in school for 4 months now. What's up, man? Like, you know what I'm saying? So he gave me some money. I shot a video. I dropped it. Back to school. So I don't have phone. I mean, I dropped the song. I've gone to school for like 3 weeks. I don't even know what's going on. Like, so my boy went to the city from school. He came back. He said, "Oh," I said, "What?"
Crazy.
He said, "The song is going
Everywhere.
crazy." I'm like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "No."
Which
you're
one?
lying to
Which
me.
song?
Before Davido. It's back when, right before Davido. Yeah.
This is good song.
I said, "Are you sure?" Because I don't want to run away again, and I'm hooked. Because my plan was like, man, if I blow up, I'm running away again. I'm not doing this. So I did that song. I kind of was going to shows. Then my dad was hearing that I'm going to shows. So that passed. We was fine for a while. But then when I did Davido, Emma Davido, it became the biggest song in Africa.
The first big.
I'd say the culture as a whole, African culture as a whole, has just grown. When I was in Alabama in school, it wasn't cool to be like, "Oh, you're from Nigeria, blah, blah." You
didn't care.
Obviously, when you have people, ambassadors from that country, changing the narrative, like not only music, with fashion, with film. There was a time Nigerian movies were watched all over Africa. You know what I'm saying? When I first got signed to an international label, which was Sony, in 2016. And this is when, like, you see, when we come and sign record deals overseas, they don't know that we're superstars back home. When I signed my first deal, I just came from Mali. I just did 60,000 people in the stadium in Mali. But then when you sign a new deal, they're asking you, "So what's your name? So explain, what type of music do you do?"
You have to prove again.
Bro, I looked at my manager, I said, "I'm not starting again." Like, I just did 10 years, but then it takes time to understand that what was sacrificing now, what them P-Square and D'banj and them Two-Face sacrifice for us is what we're enjoying now. What we're sacrificing now, the next generation is going to come and be bigger, definitely, because the music is only going to grow, bigger. But I always told them, when I first got signed, they put me up with some producers to do an album. Because, obviously, if you sign the deal, you've gotten paid, you need to deliver an album. This is not joke. This is Sony music. this is,
Not
what I'm
the
saying?
studio at your school.
You owe them. Yeah, you owe them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say names, but they put me with the best of producers. Bruh. And I was recording, trying, you know what I'm saying? But I was just like, man, this is not working out. So we dropped the EP at the time. And this is after I've had like 8 years of smash hits in Africa. Like, I'm doing stadiums, like people are fainting, like, you understand? Like,
But only in Africa.
Yes. Oh, no, only in Africa, but no, not only in Africa, everywhere in the world.
Everywhere in the world.
It's
Worldwide.
not being seen. Like, it's Africans coming to the show, but it's not like being seen. When I was 22, I did 8,000 people in Paris. When I was 22 years old, this is how many years ago?
8,000.
But obviously, like, then they were not playing us on the radio, they're not putting it on TV. You can't see it. You know what I'm saying? There's no proof.
Because it's African music?
Because before the institutions like
It's just about
Sony,
culture.
now we have Live Nation. Live Nation is ticketed, is online tickets. They can look and say, okay, Davido sold 18,000 tickets in New York. He sold, but then they couldn't see it. You know what I'm saying? Now we have companies that are behind us. You know what I'm saying? So when I first came, they put me with some producers, but it didn't work out. We dropped the EP under Sony, my first project, failure. To me, to my standard. Some people might see it as success, but to my standard, that wasn't it. You know what I did? I packed my bags, because I was in Atlanta for like almost a year, and I went back home to Lagos. I went back to the hood, and I called all my producers. I said, we need to teach these people how to do music. Because they don't understand. They think, because in their head, we've given this guy millions of dollars, we need to make the kind of music we want him to make that's gonna work, so we get paid back.
Yeah.
I said, wait, let me go back home and come back.
They didn't want your music, but
They didn't understand it.
Yeah, they wanted
didn't think it would work.
do music with you, not your music.
Yes. So I went back home and I got back to my original producers, the ones in the hood that I've never traveled before. Now all of them have traveled, they're big boys, but then went back to the hood, then went back to recording. When I came back to London, I said, take this, drop this, and you see what
Which one?
happens.
Aye?
If
If?
I tell you, say I love you,